Hello and welcome to today's edition of Global Morning. This is Global Television. We're live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. We appreciate you joining us here on the program today. Hopefully the rain has nothing on you the way it does on some people in some parts of the country. I mean, for those who are basically residents in Nigeria. Well, we appreciate you. We are winding down on the week that started just a couple of days ago, and we are grateful for the gifts of life. I'm sure my is as grateful as the rest of all.
Pumped. Yes, I am. Always grateful. Of
Right.
course, you should know that's my logo. To be thankful, to be grateful. It's very important.
Right.
Good morning,
Good morning, Jumai.
and good morning to each and every one of you out there. I am Jumai Manson, and it's great to be here on Global Morning. How to do best, and doing it side by side with my amazing co-host with amazing glasses, by the way.
I need to take a picture today.
You need to take a picture. Well, it's great to be here, and it's a fantastic time. The weather is fantastic. I love it when it's raining. I love it when it's a bit cold. I just love the weather. For me, it's perfect. Everyone has their preference.
Yeah, I think this works for me big time. I was telling a colleague just in the course of this week that, look, I personally think it is far easier to survive a cold weather
Yes.
than the heat.
Yes.
The heat practically drives you nuts, right? The cold, yes, you can always find options to deal with it. All right, so you can cover up if you're home. You can drink something steamy.
Yes, your coffee.
Right,
tea.
you can do all of that. You can run with very smoky breakfast.
Exactly.
Right, then when it's
Wear
hot,
socks.
yes, when it's hot, I mean, it can really be hot, and that in itself can be very, very huge concern. But again, we're grateful for the elements. We don't have much of control over them, but whatever it is, it shouldn't be a reason that we are going to stop now. We keep moving.
Yes, we keep moving. And someone used this particular weather time to exempt themselves from work.
Right.
No, don't do that. I think that's a thing when you hear people, I cannot come to work because the roads are blocked. I cannot come to work because the drainage system, there's no passage and all of that. There shouldn't be, no, please. There's always a way.
Right.
It shouldn't be a time to ensure that you're lazy at this point. Just get the job. Okay, earn is worth every naira. It's important, or dollars, or whatever you earn.
You know, I thought about the rain, and I mean, just the issue of
It stopped
weather.
us from coming to work. It was really heavy.
No, it shouldn't,
It
right?
should, exactly.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
See, thing is, people will just do what they think they can do best under certain circumstances. And I heard someone today, a motorist, who was saying, look, people who will not even leave their bed until maybe 10.
Well,
And
12.
he said something. So you're going to see lies flying all over the place. My roads are unmotorable. My house is half submerged in
My
the
car
flood.
broke down.
Yeah, and exactly. I can't find a vehicle.
know.
I've been requesting a vehicle all morning. You know, so you have all of those excuses. But the thing is, as my mentor would say, excuses devalue a man.
It does.
And not just about gender, but human beings generally. Yes, there are people who will be so constrained beyond what they can immediately handle, right? You can have that, things that are just a bit beyond you. There's next to nothing you can do about them. But then your antecedent will speak for you. I know, for example, I worked in a place one time. My news failed on television. I mean, you should know that it's not just an offense, it's a crime. Yes,
Really?
your news can fail in broadcast,
No, we
but my
cannot.
news failed. Now, question is, what were the circumstances? At the time, I had a bunch of alarms on my phone. So I had one for running in the morning. I had one for, get up and start prepping for work. But then it turned out that the one that had gone blazing was the one for me to go to work, and I thought it was the one for me to run. So I snoozed the alarm, and I snoozed again, I snoozed a third time, and the next thing is sleep blows me off. And then the next call that wakes me up is from our librarian. And you know what it means for a librarian to be calling to remind you that you're the one on news. This was not even the transmission director. This was not the cameraman. This was not the head of presentation. Neither was it even the programs manager. This was a librarian. Because everybody had been trying to reach me for some. It was not connecting. You know, when a handful of people are trying to get through to you on the phone, so calls get jammed and stuff like that. So turns out the librarian is the first to get across to me. And the first thing he says to me is, "Oh, you're the one on the news." And I mean, you can't tell whether that rang a bell in my head.
I'm sure it did.
I wake up, look at my phone. I think it was 7:07, and the news, no, 7:37, and the news was for 7:30. The air news.
Goodness.
Long story short, I got to work as close as I could. News had been.
Hi, Query.
Well, incidentally, you see, that's why I mentioned antecedent a while ago. And this is not me trying to blow my trumpet, even though I think I have the right to do that. But it taught me a lot of lessons about not just work, but life altogether. So I got to work that day. I worked in a place where we had the head of radio, we had the head of television separately. The first person who spoke to me about it was the GM radio. I mean, quite an elderly man. He looks at me at the canteen and says, I hear your news. I mean, casually, very casually, he says, I hear your news field. And I told them, it's not your fault, I know you. You couldn't have been so reckless about that. And then my immediate boss, who was the head of programs, called and said, look, I was disappointed. Not because you did something wrong, because I didn't want to hear that about you, because I know your program can never fail. And then my other boss, the head of presentation, says, when I heard it, I laughed. I knew body not be firewood. That was her. So I learned a lesson from that, right? You must be able to do what you can under any circumstance in such a way that the day you will be found to have fallen short, somebody can say, no, it's not Juma, I know her. This must be something beyond her.
Exactly.
All right. So I think that's what we should strive for, not to be perfect.
Exactly.
Again, that brings us to the issue of weather, right? If you live in a place where, I mean, for no fault of yours, erosion traps you in at home, I mean, flooding and all of that, maybe there's nothing next you can do about it. But if you have a situation that is challenging yet will allow you come to work, please don't annoy your boss.
I like the way you landed, don't annoy your boss. But at the same time, we should have it at the back of our minds that
Right.
character and hard work comes into play.
They do very well.
That was your character there, and when they said, "Okay, I know it's not your person. I know something must have really, really happened, and all of that." Once you are diligent in your works,
People notice.
People notice, and you understand that this person is a hard-working person. So if something must have happened, it's maybe beyond his power,
Right.
or it must have stretched out to the barest minimum. So it's very important that your character and hard work, all of that comes into play. So when something like this happens,
Right.
it could just be like a snap on the wrist, and that is it, and you just move past it. Not, okay, oh my goodness, this is yes, we understand, this is what you do, and you know, all of that, but all those antecedents. But at the same time, it's very important that we don't, like you said, people don't annoy your boss.
Well, it's a great Friday morning, no doubt about that. We love Fridays
Yes, we
because
do.
it just reminds you that a weekend is upon us and you know what we do on the weekend. Yes, we may work because of the peculiarity of our space, but the feeling itself can be quite comforting, knowing that the pressure is minimal compared to what you have in the course of the week. And to top it all off, we are grateful that you're spending this Friday with us here on the program. So much lined up today. The state police bill has been passed, at least by the Senate. We understand the Senate has also assured that the state's houses of assembly will do an amazing work of ensuring they not only also do right by the Nigerian people, but they will expedite the process because we need speed now with whatever we're doing in terms of fighting off insecurity on our soil. Of course, we'll talk about politics. So much happening in the political space as well. So much happening with the economy, and Nigerians are lending their voices more than ever before to developments in their fatherland, and that's in itself it's only expected. We're taking a break. When we return, so much more to talk about here on Global Morning. All right, sir. Well, we are grateful that you're joining us again. Juma is itchy over breakfast. I don't know what to do about Juma.
No, I'm not.
And breakfast, but it's your weakness. We'll continue to forgive you, right?
Okay, it is what it is. It's
I mean, you are admitting for the first time.
Yeah, no, it's not easy being a foodie. Not just food, but food. Come on, we all love food, don't we? Not everyone, but some of us we just love it when it's hot, delicious, tasty, mouth-watering, all combined. Someone is taking deep breaths right now.
I can feel the deliciousness.
I like that. I like that, Uyi. And up next, of course, on Global Morning is the Taste and Texture segment where you have breakfast ideas. Not just breakfast ideas, how to prepare your mind on that yummy-liciousness on what to eat. Stay tuned. It's Taste and Texture.
Hello everyone and welcome to Taste and Texture. This is Saada Tugarba, your creative chef. In today's episode of the program, we'll be making chips in egg. Chips and egg is the ultimate breakfast consumed in Nigerian homes. The delicious richness of the potatoes pairs nicely with the egg and other ingredients that you'd love to make this over and over again. Ingredients: potatoes, 4 eggs, chopped onions, chopped scotch bonnet, green and red bell peppers, seasoning cubes, salt, vegetable oil, and water. Step 1. Peel the potatoes and cut into long strips. Add your potatoes into a bowl and sprinkle some salt. Add some oil to a pan, then fry your potatoes till crispy. Step 2. For the eggs, break your eggs into a bowl. Sprinkle some salt and beat the eggs. In a pan, add some oil and onions and fry for a bit. Add your bell peppers, scotch bonnet, and stir, then add your seasoning powder. Add the beaten eggs into a pan and mix the eggs and vegetables together. Arrange your chips into the pan and cover to cook for a minute. Flip the egg and chips to the other side to cook as well. There you have it, your chips in egg is ready to enjoy. That's a wrap on today's episode of Taste and Texture. I hope you enjoyed this culinary demonstration and trust you will try this recipe at home. Be sure to join me again for yet another taste-friendly delicacy. I am Saada Tugarba, your creative chef, saying thank you for watching.
All right, you're welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that segment of Taste and Texture, that very delicious segment over there, talking about potato pizza, one of my best. And just to twerk, how do you prepare your chips and eggs in a different dimension? You should try it out.
Right. I mean, who says we can be creative and innovative with food?
Exactly. You should be. To
Right.
give it that zeal and that quest to always eat every single bite on that plate.
Right.
All right, at about this time, we've heard about food. Now let's get inspired with heart-to-heart inspirational with Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to another moment of heart-to-heart inspirational. Let's talk heart-to-heart a little bit because a lot of people have not been able to bounce back after the last time they failed. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Welcome to Heart-to-Heart Inspirationals. Failure is a feedback and not a funeral. I want to say that again because of people who failed. Some people fell and they remain on the ground. They never got up again because of what they feel people around them are going to say. But then failure is a feedback. And that's why some people will tell you all the time that whatever happens, all right, there is a lecture from every lesson. Whatever happens to you in life, there is something that you are meant to learn from it, either positively or negative thing that you need to take cognizance of and be watchful as you move on the journey of life. So I just want to tell you today that failure is a feedback and not a funeral. What kind of feedback did you you get from that last failure? Have you even tried anything at all? Have you experienced failure before? If you've not experienced failure before, it means you need to try harder. Because on this journey of destiny, people who are successful today are people who have failed a number of times, and they got up on their feet, learned from their mistake, and their mistake became a stepping stone for them. And of course, they are where they are today. Why? Because they never allow that failure to become a funeral to their dream. What am I emphasizing? As a matter of fact, let's normalize something today, all right? Let's normalize something today. A failure, you've heard about it all the time. Okay, this person is a failure, that person is a failure. You know, people assess their counterparts, their neighbors, their brothers, their colleagues differently with different perspectives. Some persons already have been tagged as failure, and that has been affecting a lot of people. But then, have you accepted that you are a failure? That somebody told you you are a failure does not make you a failure until you accept that you are a failure. All right, not because it feels good, yeah, but because it is necessary. Sometimes, you know, it's risk. It's risk. If you have taken a risk before, and of course, it didn't go well the way you think it was going to go, and you failed, it doesn't mean that is a funeral. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try it again. I was speaking with someone a few days ago, yeah, and we're talking about a particular business, and the young man told me, now I am successful, but then during my wilderness experience, when I was in the workshop, nobody knew anything about me. When I was failing over and over and over again, I lost money several times. I had to stay indoors and think of the next thing to do. He failed severally until he said, no, I am not going to allow this failure become a funeral. My dream is not going to be cut short by this failure. And he stood on his ground. Consistency. I must always emphasize consistency anytime I come up to speak to anyone on heart to heart, because it is very important. If you want to succeed in life, then consistency and discipline is very important. But the bottom line is this: nobody ever succeeds without first stumbling. Yes. You stumble, then you stand again. Even every little child, before a child starts walking, you stand them up, you see them, they walk a little bit, they fall. They walk a little bit, they fall until their leg gets stabled on the ground. All right? And you see them walking firmly. Then before you know it, they start running. The same thing is applicable to life. So failure, as a matter of fact, is not proof that you can't. All right, it's not a proof that you can't do it. It's proof that you tried. It's a proof that you tried. When you fail, it means you tried and you failed. It doesn't mean that's the end. It reveals what doesn't work and refine what eventually would work later. That's what failure does. Anytime you fail, you know that, yes, this one does not work. Let me try the other one. It gives you a focus. It makes you know that, yes, if I go this way, I'm going to fail again. So I need to do something else. It's only a fool that do the same thing the same way and expect a different result. If you are doing one thing the same way all the time, you get the same result. You need to apply technicality, strategy, discipline, excellence every time. Whatever you do, let that touch of excellence be in your head. All right? So that when you fail in one thing, you try doing it the other way. But then don't allow that first, second, third, fourth failure be your funeral. Let your dream and your vision and your talent not be buried because you failed. Because that failure is trying to refine you. It's trying to build something in you. What do you have to do? I want you to know that failure, what it does is that it reveals what doesn't work and refines what eventually will work. But you need to have this mentality. Every setback is information. If you are willing to learn, yes, that's what it means. Every setback that you've had in the past is an information. Because there is something you need to learn from every setback, from every failure. Everyone throwing stones at you right now is because they know you are going somewhere. A lot of, see, let me tell you the truth. We have a lot of friendly enemies these days. Some people are smiling with you, but then they are not interested in your success. What they say behind you, if you hear it, hey, but then that shouldn't deter you. That shouldn't deter you because you have a destination. So every setback is information if you are willing to learn, because most people don't fail because they are incapable. That you failed, it's not because you are incapable, but because you are going somewhere, because you are dogged, because you are rugged, because you are determined, because you are focused, because you have a dream, you have a vision, something you are pursuing and something you want to get. You have a target. So when people like that fail, they fail because they don't stop. But if you stop anytime soon, it means that failure has gotten to you. Let me give you an instance, an illustration. For instance, a GPS recalculates when you miss a turn. It doesn't shut down. All right? Failure, in other words, simply means it's time to adjust. Anytime you fail, the message is, no, I need to adjust. This principle, this procedure, this formula is not working. I need to adjust. There is something I need to do so that I don't fail again. That's what it means. Anytime you fail, there is a message. It is telling you it is time to adjust the procedure. It is time to re-strategize. That's what it means. All right, so you don't need to abandon your journey because you failed. There is a practical mindset shift that you need to have, and this is it. Number one, stop attaching shame to failure. Yes, stop attaching shame to failure. Some people, when they fail, they feel shy. Oh no, I'm not going to get on that stage again. They will laugh at me. No, I'm not going to do that business again. People will laugh at me. People will mock me. The same people will celebrate and want to identify with you if you are a success. So there should be a mindset and a mind shift for you. Extra lessons instead of self-criticism. Stop criticizing yourself because you failed. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people with other people because you failed. That you failed. Failure is not a funeral. Stop burying yourself in shame and criticism. Try again. Make it better. Make it wiser. Make it stronger. That's what it means. All right? Failure is tuition paid for future success. That is a quote that I'm bringing to you now. Failure, I said, is what? Is tuition paid for future success. But if you don't pay, if you go to school now, all right, 100 level, you need to pay a tuition in 100 level. You get to 200, you pay another tuition before you can get to 300 level. In every of this level, there are tuitions to pay. If you want to change levels in life, don't be scared of failure. If you are scared of failure, you will never try anything good. So what do you have to do? Keep pushing. Don't bury your dream because of one mistake that you made. I'll keep saying this. Learn, rise, and move forward. Don't worry about what people are saying. Don't worry about the situation around you. Don't think, oh, I have failed. I don't need to try it again. Keep trying. Change the strategy. Become wiser. Failure make you wiser. Because you walk through this way and you fail, you apply this strategy, this technique, this principle, this formula, and you failed. You will now need to re-strategize. Use another formula. All right? Until you get to your success. Until you get to what you want to achieve in life. All right? So you need to know that anytime you fail, it's a signal that you need to turn. You need to do something again. You need to re-strategize. You need to improvise. Come up with something new. As a matter of fact, failure is not the best option for you. So what do you have to do? Try as much as possible. Right, to be sincere in everything that you do. Because if you want to please people, it will be disastrous. You don't need to please anyone, all right? You don't need to please anyone. It is when you're thinking about pleasing people that when you stumble, you say, oh, I've disappointed this person. I've disappointed even people who really love you, who want you to be successful. By the time you fail, instead of them condemning you, they will come and encourage you to do better. And that's the reason you need mentors. That's the reason you need people to talk to per time. All right? You need to talk to people. See, if you are embarking on a project, I emphasize mentorship all the time. I was speaking with a friend a few days ago, and I told the person, if I want to do this thing you're doing now, it is going to be express for me. It's going to be easier. I may have hitches. There might be some times where you have losses or maybe failure at some point, but then you have people to ask questions. I have someone to ask questions. Hey, I got hooked here. What do I do? Even the disaster is not going to be as disastrous as it would have been if you never have anyone to guide you on this journey of destiny. You really need people, okay? Because as your association determine your acceleration in life, okay? And your friends, you need to be careful with the kind of friends you have. If you have a bad friend, it is disaster. If you have a good friend, it means you have a shoulder to lean on, a shoulder to stand on and be tall so that you can get to that success that you are running after, that you are pursuing. Yes, congratulations, everyone. You are a success going somewhere to happen. Don't allow anything stop you on the way. Not failure, not criticism. Don't bury yourself because you failed. Failure is not funeral. Bye-bye for now and have a beautiful day.
Well, thank you for staying with us. Now time to move to the next item on the program today, and that is newspaper review. We've got quite a number of them for you. Turns out we'll be starting from the Daily Trust newspaper. Top left corner of the paper says 8 die, 26 rescued in Lagos building collapse. And you know there was also one in River State, but it appears that of Lagos so far has been a bit more devastating. Motorists demand cheaper petrol as crude price falls. 2027, Jega seeks amendment to Electoral Acts. Apparently, that's the former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now moving for amendment to the Electoral Act, which is the recent one of 2026. The Star headline reads, 7 residents, 2 corpses killed in Katsina, Kaduna. Incidentally, those are both states in the northwestern part of our country. All right, not very much headlines on the front page of the Daily Trust today, but please take responsibility and read up details. Jumai will walk us through headlines on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune.
Thank you, Uyi. Now the Nigerian Tribune, and on page 12 it says FG to review minimum wage, and that's from Bajagba Miller, and the writer says 70,000 naira, not in tune with current economic realities, and I completely agree. And on page 28 it says Appeal Court adjourns hearing in suit against deregistration of ADC, Accord, 3 others till July 7th. And still above the nameplate there, and that's a picture of the CBN governor, and it says CBN orders bank to freeze assets of BDC, 6 individuals over alleged terrorism funding. And the Star story on the Nigerian Tribune says LG Autonomy, State Police, stakeholders put governors on the spot. Yes. And on page 21 and 22, we has 5 4 riders underneath that star story. Says state police will protect, persecute Nigerian Christians. Says U.S. lawmaker Moore. Speakers reaffirm state assemblies commitments to state police bill. LP urges governors, state assemblies to be above partisanship, backs bill. Tinubu's government can't be trusted with state police, and that's from the PRP. And beside that, on page 22, it says 2 dead, 16 rescued as 3-story building collapses in Lagos. Unfortunate incident there. And on page 4, it says INEC opens candidates nomination portal tomorrow. And before we get to the health segment, on page 22, it says former security guard planned executed murder of ex-OGTV broadcaster, and that's from the police. We killed her to teach her a lesson, and that's from the principal suspect. Why would you take laws into your own hands? Tinubu harms on rebirth of national assets, inaugurates remodeled 154-bed Premier Hotel. And then the writer says promises safe release of Orire kidnapped students and teachers. That's a major step in the right direction. That's on page 30. And the health segment on page 27, it says menstrual blood tests to help detect endometriosis, and that's from experts. And that's on page 27. Go out and get yourself a copy of the Nigerian Tribune to be well informed with the issues making round. Next, we have The Guardian. Over to you.
All right, The Guardian now. Let's guide you through it. Okay, well, 3 headlines. First of all, we begin with top right corner has a picture of former president of the Nigerian Senate, David Mark. A few courts to hear ADC order suits against the registration July. Power debt roll deepens as Genco's challenge ministers 501 billion payment claim on page 3. High petrol prices persist as Nigeria faces $11.5 billion crude oil loss. That's quite humongous for our country. Again, that story has its headlines on page 3. For service or sanctuary, posers over ex-governor's push for legislative seats. All right, for context, you have infographics on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. It says for some ex-governors, the journey doesn't end, it just changes. Of course, we've seen that happen with the trajectory of governors leaving the government house for the Senate, which many people call their retirement home. All right, sounds like an IDP camp of sorts. Let's make progress. Ramaphosa denounces xenophobia as more Nigerians, others leave South Africa. We hear that another batch of returnees arrived yesterday, but the question now remains, what happens to them in terms of livelihood? How do they reintegrate into the Nigerian society? Some of them have been out of here for more than a decade. It's just going to be some magic overnight. How do we help them settle in, as it were? All right, State Police, Atiku, PRP, Falana raise concerns as LP, Afenifere, Sowolu back move. Those details are on page 6. CBN freezes accounts linked to terrorism financiers, seeks enhanced monitoring. You know, this is one of the questions I asked yesterday when some colleagues and I got chatting about this issue. The CBN is the clearinghouse, so to say, not just the regulator of the banking sector in Nigeria. When you go to the bank, Jumai, like we all do, you see they have, amongst many signs, one that reads something like thresholds for transfer. So if Jumai or any customer needs to transfer above a certain amount, excuse me, the bank must notify the CBN, right? Yeah, these people have had these accounts over time, either as individuals or as business entities.
Exactly.
Are we saying the bank failed in its KYC, know your customer? Are we saying the bank failed in due diligence? Are we saying the bank also failed in background checks? Rigorous vetting of customers?
Very important.
At the point of opening those accounts or when the accounts already started running? Are we also saying that the CBN had failed in its own bits of checking these banks? Why did we have to wait for the US to have come up with this intel before we hear the CBN now saying that banks must freeze the accounts of these persons who are being indicted and identified as financiers of terrorism?
I think CBN, they're aware now that they have to take full
They are aware
responsibility.
now.
Yes, because I'm sure they were not aware before, or they allowed it slide. It depends, or it was like a wool over their eyes. But at the
The
same
US
time,
has been generous to help them pull it off.
of course, I like that. Of course, and I'm sure that they now know that this bulk of issue or blame falls on the CBN, because if they had played their part in all of this, that's why I always say terms of reference. People do not really understand what their terms of reference are when it comes to appointments given to you, what your designation ought to be, where it stops and where it starts from. It's very important. So I'm glad now that they know that they have to take full responsibility on this issue. Well, it's never too late, though. It's started now. Hopefully there will be results that we can actually work with that will go a long way in curbing this menace of insecurity.
Great. Let's see two more headlines for you, everyone, this morning from the Guardian newspaper. One here says, INEC yet to get 2027 election funds, 21 days to deadline. What's holding back those funds? Is it bureaucracy, some sort of bottlenecks in the public system? Well, it's on INEC now to beat the money out. Yeah, sounds like the title of the song, Beat the Money Out, right? But those details are on page 6 for
I like that.
CBN freezes accounts. Okay, we brought it out already. What's more? Lastly, Army, police reject fresh moves to deploy repentant terrorists. I don't know how we define this repentant thing. Yeah,
Exactly.
But it's sickening. It's disturbing.
It is disturbing because how sure are you? I've always known in law, it says it's only God that knows the intent of one's heart. So I do not know whether it's under disguise,
Right.
but why should they even be recruited into society or into that sort of, excuse me, that sort of parastatal of the military to be associated? It's a problem.
And it's a shame on us as a country. Sorry, Jumai. Well, what more can we say? We'll take a break now. We have a few more papers coming. Please do stay with us. You know, this conversation around repentant terrorists being, as it were, debriefed, if you like, and then reintegrated into society, looks like a dangerous initiative. Because we have seen the armed forces categorically and officially come out to say, look, we are no party to it. As a matter of fact, we do not recommend such interventions. But what do you say to and about state governors who appear to see that as perhaps the principal solution, maybe in some cases the only solution to solving the problem of insecurity, especially as it has to do with their respective states? Like I asked a while ago, how do we determine who has repented? Like somebody said on the radio program this morning, right? This is somebody, for example, who has taken lives. This is somebody who has gone into people's homes in the dead of the night, in their vulnerable moments, right? Snuck the life out of them. This is someone who has gone to people's farmlands. I mean, people who are legitimately doing their business, helping themselves, helping their families, helping their communities, helping the country in their own little way. And then you take over their farms, you plunder their crops, and then in some cases you maim, you rape, you kill. You do that for months, you do that for years. Then all of a sudden, the next thing we hear is you are now a repentant terrorist, that you now have a change of heart of some kind, and as such, we need to see you from a new perspective, look at you through a different prism altogether. Does that really work? Is that not counterproductive? Is it not counterintuitive for a country like ours where Insecurity is evidently on the rise, whether you call it banditry, insurgency, kidnapping. You're even hearing that ISIS now has a foothold on our soil, and then we are still having a debate as to whether or not we should forgive terrorists and call them our brothers. I mean, I think it's time we end this shame now, right? Well, let's take another break so we can bring you more papers on the program.
All right, you're welcome back from that very quick, that very short break. And of course, the newspaper review segment continues. Let us start with the Nation newspaper. And on page 8, above the nameplate, it says, State Assemblies ready to OK State Police Bill. And on page 8 again, it says, pressure of marketers to cut petrol pump price. And on page 6, it says, Tinubu reassures on Orire as Oyo extends curfew. Now below the nameplate, it says 8 died, 27 injured in Lagos building collapse. Death sentence for 2 kidnappers, and that is on page 29. Now the star story on the Nation, it says CBN orders freeze of accounts linked to terrorism financing. And of course, the writer says 6 individuals, 4 firms identified, banks to comply with immediate effect. And basically, those are all the major stories of the Nation newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the Nation newspaper. Of course, next now we have the Daily Sun. What to you, Uyi?
Thank you, Jumai. I just sent the Daily Sun newspaper this morning. Here it says, IPOB raises Kanu's conviction at U.S. Civil Society Forum. That's some escalation there by the proscribed group. All right. CBN initiates crackdown on terrorism suspects with 2 riders to freeze accounts of terror financiers, BDC operators, orders banks to freeze accounts of customers linked to Vice. All right. A state police bill, pressure shifts to state legislators with 2 riders again. Stakeholders, experts demand early passage of bill by 2/3 of state houses of assembly to complete constitution amendments. Conference of Speakers pledges thorough review. Whatever you do, please do right by our people. Telcos under pressure as consumer anger grows over rapid data depletion drop calls. Telcos under pressure as consumer anger grows over rapid data depletion drop calls. So this is touching everybody really. Oba Benin constitutes traditional security network to tackle banditry in Edo. I'm sure you heard that.
Yes.
Oba Benin constitutes traditional security network to tackle banditry in Edo. Banditry in Edo. Does that not shock you?
It shocks me that it has gotten to that
not
point.
Kidnapping now, not cultism.
Not cultism, but banditry.
Right.
It's a serious problem, and it's on everyone's doorstep. You know, it's just unfortunate, but I'm glad that most people are not kidding around when it comes to this issue of banditry, because it is a scourge in the society, and banditry has not come to play either. So for as much as everyone's hands is on deck, it makes it easier for us to curb this menace in the society.
Well, let's see how easy I guess as we make progress. 2 more headlines for you this morning from the Daily Sun newspaper. Here it says, NECO releases 2026 BECE results. On page 25 is where you would find details. 8 died, 26 rescued in Lagos building collapse. 8 lives. No jokes. That's on page 6 for you. Incidentally, that's the much we have by way of headlines from the Daily Sun. Let's now go to the Daily Times.
All right, now the Daily Times newspaper above the nameplate of the Daily Times. It says here HRA urges fair appeal process in Syrup 100 million naira defamation case. And next it says here CBN data order triggers new investment raise as banks move to local service. And the star story on the Daily Times says CBN orders bank to freeze assets of 16 individuals for BDCs linked to terrorism financing. And of course, this is a right step in the right direction. It means CBN is actually taking responsibility because that war was over their eyes before. And here it says xenophobia, another batch of 66 Nigerian returnees arrived from South Africa. And it says here, courts to deliver judgment September 29th in suit seeking fresh police probe of Mohbad. We're still on the Mohbad issue. It hasn't rested, but hopefully justice will be served. And basically, those are all the headlines on the Daily Sun. Next, we have the Business Day.
All right, on the Business Day this morning, just a couple of them here. It says who won and who lost when Nigeria stars dished their labels. Right, it's talking about the showbiz entertainment industry. Right, who won and who lost when Nigeria stars dished their labels. What's more, stock market's June sell-off wipes $3.5 billion of Nigerian billionaires' fortune, opens buying opportunity for new entrants. Cooking gas prices leave Nigerians among Africa's hardest hits. I'm not sure Juma is feeling the heat now.
No comment.
Maybe she bought when it was selling for $750. Maybe that was the last time she purchased.
Really?
I'm just saying maybe with emphasis.
No.
Right. But it's all right. Nigeria still reeling despite petrol's slide to 1,125 naira per litre on page 30. Fight against insecurity tightens as CBN freezes assets of 10. And we hope this will also now lessen the intensity of attacks in our country. Well, those are your headlines, about 4 of them from the Business Day. Please be sure that you read up details so you can improve on your business intelligence. Let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper next.
All right, now the Vanguard newspaper. Above the nameplate on page 13, and it's from Bajagbia Miller, and he says FG to review 70,000 naira minimum wage. And on page 19, it says marketers retain high petrol prices as crude oil clashes to pre-war level. And there are 2 riders there. It says crude now $72. Dangote Refinery reduces gantry price to 1,125 naira per litre. And it says Nigeria will witness monumental development with correct tax system, and that's from Oyedele, and that's on page 20. And below the nameplate, it says our worries on state police by parties, other stakeholders, and it says one is funding crunch abused by governors, thugs in uniform, top concerns. XCP warns many states can't pay salaries, exposes structure to raw corruption. LP Ubani demand iron-clad legislative firewalls. Samuel Olu hails expulsion shafts as PRP, NNPC, CUPP flag Tinubu's alleged hasty reform. Political parties, now it says here, legal heavyweights raise alarm over 2027 polls. Senator Arise seeks tight legislative checks. Weak LGAs may sink entire project, and that's from experts. And the picture story there below says more evacuees arrive Lagos from South Africa. And here on page 9 on the Vanguard, it says xenophobia, FG repatriates 66 more Nigerians from South Africa. And below that, it reads, terror financing, FG to charge US sanctioned BDC operator. And the writer there says CBN freezes account of Adamu Chiroma, 4 others, 1 BDC, and that's on page 9. On page 9 again, it says Venezuela twin quakes kill at least 164 with many trapped under rubble. That's a very sad read there. And on page 7, it says Lagos mall collapse. Baby girl, 8 others feared dead, 26 rescued. And of course, the Mr. and Mrs. column there. And go out and get yourself a copy of the Vanguard newspaper to be well informed on issues making round. Next is the Nigerian News Direct,
which happens to be the very last this morning here. Let's see top left corner with a picture of IG of police. Says Plateau killings, IGP deploys AIG for on-sports assessments. Sounds like Plateau again. EFCC, CAC move to clamp down on unregistered POS operators. I think that's a deadline given to them had been moved, extended a few times. So now it's action time. INEC suspends electoral officer over leak of voter data. That sounds dangerous. Most matter of national security. Freeze accounts of terrorism financiers, CBN orders banks. Right, says here, over 25 recorded cases of electoral violence documented in Osun. That's according to reports. Who is looking at that report and what do we intend to do with them? Find out when you pick a copy of the Nigerian News Direct. Those are all the headlines for you this morning from across all of our papers that we're bringing to you. I just want to say thank you for understanding that these headlines are brought to you exactly as published by their respective publishers. Global Television, as a broadcast media entity, or the group or team here of Global Morning, does not in any way contributes to them. Please do well to read for yourself so you can understand the direction of the news. We're taking a quick break now. Global Morning continues behind it. Do stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
At Wichtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction, Wichtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Wichtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
At Erojim Shoe Factory, excellence starts from the ground up. Located at number 1 Pound Road behind Nigeria Correctional Service, Aba, Abia State. We produce 1,500 high-quality shoes every single day. Paramilitary shoes, safety boots, desert boots, ankle shoes, back-to-school footwear. All crafted with state-of-the-art equipment and built for strength, comfort, and durability. For reliable footwear that stands the test of time, choose Erojim Shoes for better product, strong steps, smart style. For inquiries, call 091-264-53399 or 070-3009-3944 or 080-6573-8374 or call 081-3167-3668. Email info@erojim.com. Website www.erojimdesign.com. Erojim. Walk with confidence. Walk with pride.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Oh, thank you for staying with us. Well, the program continues, and like we mentioned, quite interactive session is up ahead. But at this point, let's now join Ogochukwu Mobuno as we'll bring you Social Buzz.